Good evening, everybody. As we're getting set for uh, the worldwide Express Carrier Appreciation 250 for the Busch Series. The car is just recently rolled off, and they're getting ready to go racing. Annika Ricci is on the pole alongside Darby King. There's our pole sitter. There's the points leader, Azar Amirmoez. Let me quickly show you the rest of the starting grid before I forget. There you go. As we're coming to the green flag here at Richmond International Raceway. Green flags in the air. We're underway. We'll discuss points and all that in just a second. As we're set for the 23rd race on the season, let me make sure everybody took the start, and they all did. There we go. Darby King moved up a spot to 23rd in the points. She only has 6 points ahead of 25th in the standings. She needs a good run to stay in the top 20 in points to have that win count for a spot into the playoffs. And she's looking underneath Annika Ricci. Azar Amirmoez is the points leader by 14 points over Diego Marquez. Malin Lee is 41 back in third. Makar Amirmoez is 46 back in fourth. Annika Ricci, our leader, is fifth in the standings. Then it's Danny Rant, S Hsu, Jay Green, Drake Robertson, and Brad Blackmon, your top 10. Riley Roblier, who didn't have a good qualifying, he's only 1 point ahead of 25th in the standings as Darby King is trying to get around the yellow Dodge from James Finch's team, and this lap lead's going to help her. And she'll get that lap lead. Last week, Taylor Valley went to victory lane, but will not be in the playoffs because she came in 11 races too late. So it would not be enough for her to make the playoffs. Darby King racing to make the playoffs. Of course, is in the top 25, but needs a good run to stay away from 25th in the standings. Running 40 laps here tonight. All 40 laps these drivers can make on fuel. Annika Ricci looking underneath the inside of the Civil Air Patrol Chevrolet. There's Bruno Wood running in the fourth position. He comes in this race 31st in the points. He and Sally Ford are a total of 21 points back at 25th in the standings, so they need a good run here tonight. Liliana Beta is 12 points back of 25th in the standings. She also needs a good run tonight. Chloe Carmichael, 48 points back of 48 points back with her and Emily Green, who's tied for that position. They're 48 back of 25th in the standings. As this is probably their last chance to get some good runs. Check the back of the field. There's Chloe Carmichael. Tony Lopez came into this race 13 points ahead of 25th in the standings, but running in last right now. That is not where he needs to be. Excuse me. I'm drinking a soda if y'all are okay with that. There's Riley Roblier. As of now, he would fall outside the top 25 in points, and his win would not count for a playoff berth. Sally Ford came in this race a total of 31 points back of 25th in the standings. I don't think with where she's running it's going to be enough. Bart Simpson 29th in the points. He was 19 points back at 25th in the standings. So it's looking very unlikely unless Bart Simpson can have a good run tonight. I don't think Bart Simpson's going to make the playoffs. There's L Pelekai. Lilo jumped up 3 spots to 14th in the points. And it looks like she has a fairly healthy cushion between herself and the cut line. There's Jay Green a couple of weeks ago. He led the most laps last week, jumped up 6 spots to 8th in the points. Maitland Lee running 3rd in points. Scrolling through the field, there's Luna Farmer. She's now more than likely going to be out of the playoffs, which is a shame for her, but just trying to salvage what she can. Taylor Valley, last week's winner, up here in the top 10. Michael Ford, there's Bruno Wood. Bruno Wood's going to be in a desperate must-win situation if he doesn't have a good run here tonight. And Liliana Beta and Darby King are running well as we're at lap number 16 of this 40-lap race. Of course, we start our 3 short tracks to finish, or no. For Busch, we have 3 short track races. Winston Cup will have 4 straight to finish up the regular season, as Busch is going to a plate race at 8 Bowl, where the Winston Cup Series drivers raced at earlier on this year. Next week, we'll stay in Virginia, as they're going to head to Martinsville. That'll be the 24th race on the season, Busch and Winston Cup. The following week, all 3 series are back in action. Trucks, Busch, and Winston Cup from the Bristol Motor Speedway, which is the only stop for the Truck Series before they head off to Daytona for the regular season finale. And Daytona is going to really play a factor of who's going to be in the top 20 in points in the Truck Series. Busch will be talking about the drivers inside the top 25 that have a chance to try to make the playoffs, or those that have a win that are outside the top 25 that are not a full race back. And then Winston Cup will go short track racing from Mansfield for the first time ever, a debuting track for the Winston Cup. And then we begin the playoffs at Chicagoland for all 3 series. Winston Cup will head to Texas. Yes, we're going to Texas. And then Indianapolis will be for all 3 series, which will be Trucks and Busch's second race of the first round. It'll be the first elimination race for the Cup Series drivers. And then Trucks and Busch will have their first elimination race at Texas. And Winston Cup will head to Atlanta, I believe. I'll have to double check that to be sure. Or no, check that. They're heading to Darlington for the Southern 500. That will start the round of 12. Then it'll be Winston Cup at Lime Rock. We'll have all 3 series at Kansas, which will be Trucks and Busch's first race of round 2. And it'll be the second elimination race for the Cup Series. And then we'll have Michigan only for Cup. All 3 series will be at... All 3 series will visit Talladega one more time before we set up for the final elimination race at Homestead before we have Toronto as the championship race. So that is the rest of the schedule coming up for this series. For Trucks, it'll be 10-8-4. Busch will be 12-8-4. Cup will be 16-12-8-4. Annika Ricci trying to get herself back into contention of making the playoffs, or actually in contention for the regular season title, excuse me. And trying to get 15 valuable playoff points. Excuse me. That would build a nice little cushion between herself and that eighth position, the points cut line, when we begin the playoffs at Chicagoland. Which I'm also going to go ahead and throw a disclaimer out. For the regular season finale, do not ask me if I'm right or wrong as far as who made the playoffs and who did not until you see the point standings. Throwing that out there, and I will probably remind that when we get to the regular season finale coming up in 3 weeks' time. And yes, the PCSRA officials have confirmed Darlington is the Southern 500 will be the first race of the round of 12. I've just now been told that, so I have now been confirmed on that schedule. So there you go. It's going to be weird seeing trucks and Busch going to Texas after the Winston Cup Series, to be honest with you. It's going to feel weird. Of course, my fellow Texan Sean Art will be joining me for one of those playoff races. It's going to be a very interesting to see what's going to happen at Texas as we're inside of 10 to go. I also should mention Dan and Ratsuni Sue were tied for that 12th position in the playoff cut line. But if Beta gets in the top 25 um, along with others, then that could spell disastrous for those that are trying to get in on points. Because if you try to get if we have 12 winners inside the top 25, then everybody's in a must-win situation, knowing that's going to happen. But we'll have to wait and see. Annika Ricci looking for her third win on the season. She is the second seed. The only thing I will confirm when we have the regular season finale is who wins the regular season championship. Because everything else is going to be a toss-up who makes the playoffs and not all that. So the only thing I will congratulate is the regular season champion, but the question of who made the playoffs and who didn't, you will see the point standings and the reformatted points when we have our playoff openers. So that way I'm not derping. And then I'm not even going to wager a guess of the who's going to move on, who's going to get eliminated, yada, 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 until you see the reformatted points when we have our elimination races coming up. And right now, Darby King's looking like she's probably going to build an even more big enough cushion because, like I said, she was only 6 points ahead of 25th in the standings. And with a second place result, this is going to help her good. And I think Liliana Beta, who was 12 points back of 25th in the standings, and she is ahead of Jake Littletown, who's running in 26. So I think Liliana Beta might have just possibly made the top 25, which we'll have to wait and see. White flag in the air for Annika Ricci, looking for her third win on the year, getting to pad some more playoff points. That would be a nice little cushion for herself and the cut line. And off of turn 4, Annika Ricci is going to win here tonight at Richmond to take the Worldwide Express Carrier Appreciation 250. Darby King will get second. That will definitely keep Darby King in the top 25. If not, might have just moved her away from 25th position in the standings, as standings are indeed official, speaking of standings. Michael Ford third, Liliana Beta fourth. This might get her in the top 25 with that result. Landon Chang fifth, Bruno Wood sixth. Bruno Wood was a total of 31 points back, or no, check that, 41 points back of 25th in the standings. We'll see where this is going to situate him. Taylor Valley, 1 week removed from her first career win on the channel. She comes away with 7th, Elizabeth Gardner 8th, Lucas Albon 9th, and Danny Rand complete the top 10. Let's see, a couple of our former winners. Jay Green gets 14th, so that's not too bad of a run for Jay after his season's been good. Leela Bakai 17th. I think that's good enough for her to be safe as far as that's concerned. Sally Ford 21st. And she was only 31 back at 25th in the standings. We're going to have to see where this is going to situate her. Bart Simpson, I don't think a 20, where did he finish? He finished 24th. I don't know if that's going to be good for him to get in the playoffs as far as that's concerned. As you look on down to the rest of the finishing results. The thing for Danny Rand, Makar Ramirez, and Diego Marquez is drivers that were inside the top 25 could fall out and their wins would not count. Chloe Carmichael, I think that will be game over for her in the playoffs. I don't think 27th is going to cut it. A couple of other drivers who were running well in points like Langeland, he's going to take another hit in the standings 2 weeks in a row for him. Tony Lopez, I think he will fall out of the top 25 with a 35th place finish. Diego Marquez finished in 34th. He came in straight second in points. The gal he was trying to run down for the points lead finished in the top 10. So we now know Azar Amirmoez will keep the points lead, and it looks like Malin Lee will be second in points heading into next week's race at Martinsville. Emily Green, I think that will be her playoff hopes done. She needed a good run to get herself back in the top 25. A 37th place finish is not going to cut it. And Riley Roblier will no doubt fall outside the top 25. He was 1 point ahead, 25th in the standings. A dead last finish is definitely going to take him out of the top 25. So I can officially confirm Emily Green will not be one of the drivers battling for this season's chase for the championship, despite going to victory lane. She's had so many inconsistent runs, and I don't think that's going to get her in the playoffs. So that's a tough break for that 33 team. They're going to have to just try to get more checker flags to build to finish off what has been a difficult season for them. But Annika Ricci is the winner. Third win on the year. Congratulations to her. If you guys enjoyed tonight's race, be sure to give this video a like, subscribe to become part of the PCSRA crew today. We've shown your full finish results. Your point standings are down in the description heading into next week at Martinsville. We've got to finish up this race weekend with the Winston Cuppers here at Richmond for the Toyota Owners 400 at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Then next week, we're heading off to the paperclip of Martinsville for Busch and Winston Cup racing, coming your way from the paperclip track of Martinsville. Hope you'll join us for that. Until then, I've been D DeVille saying up. Good night from Richmond, as you've been watching yet another broadcast of PCSRA TV, where champions are made since 2010 and 15 years as the best center racing around the world since 2017.